the Phillies get swept in Pittsburgh. Here's the good news. You have an opportunity to scream and get your frustration out. 215-592-9494. Now, I've said that phrase a few times now. And every time I say it, there's actually a turn in my stomach where I think food is going to come up the esophagus and I'm going to vomit. The Phillies got swept by the Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates in a series that sounded like a home series. It sounded to me as if it was filled with Phillies fans cheering you on. And how did they show up to the ballpark? With no pulse. Why? Because Bryce Harper wasn't in the lineup? What a smack in the face to all the fans that made the trip to Pittsburgh for the weekend and for all the fans that watched at home. And that's from the player's point of view and from Dave Dombrowski's point of view. Because Dave tripled down on this center field position. That should cost him his job alone. Along with all the other disaster decisions that he has made. Like signing Trey Turner. But I digress. Who in their right mind would watch Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas over the last few years and think to win a championship, the best move would be to try it again? And oh, by the way, here's Max Kepler, who stinks. Dave Dombrowski assembled a roster that had zero chance, and he looked at everybody in the face and tried to sell us that this was a magical group that just needed to get hot. They don't have what it takes to win. They don't have the DNA to do anything serious, and that's a Dave Dombrowski problem. But even with that said, I can't let the players off the hook. I'm watching Bohm get on third base again against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are horrible. They are horrible. They're so bad. Man on third, no outs. Nick Castellanos, been around baseball a long time. JT Realmuto, been around baseball a long time. Bryson Stott, there's no such thing as the daycare anymore. Been around long enough. Nothing. You make me sick. You do. You make me sick watching Bohm stand there on third base at bat after at bat after at bat. That's inexcusable. Whether this team is flawed to go win a championship or not, that is just flat out, individually speaking, for all three of them, a joke. It's a joke, and it's losing baseball. So both are true. The front office let us down by all the decisions that were glaring and very obvious before the season began. Nobody wants to sit here before a season and when it's the offseason and say, well, they didn't do enough. No one wants to do that. There were reasons why we did it. They didn't do enough. And it couldn't have been laid out any clearer. Yet the man who gets paid millions of dollars to put this roster together somehow was blinded by it? Why? Because he traded Logan O'Hoppe? So he's doing the complete opposite of what Howie does? Howie signs Bryce Huff, goes, this guy sucks. I don't want him. While Dave Dombrowski goes, well, I made the trade, so I guess we have to keep trying it. The difference, huh? Instead of doubling down, tripling down, Brandon Marsh does not know how to field. Johan Rojas can't hit a lick. He makes a sensational catch out in center field where nobody probably gets to that one ball in the gap, and it's awesome. He can't hit a lick.
Because he's a bum.
It's crazy. And then it goes back to them throwing a bullpen game? You got to rely on a bullpen game. Your biggest weakness. Let's have at it, fellas. Romano? Whether he got unlucky because Marsh can't run in properly on a blooper. What's he taking 65,000 feet back? He's taking 65,000 steps backwards? And now all of a sudden it's when Bryce isn't in the lineup thing, they don't have a pulse. So it's all about number 3, huh? All these other veterans and, quote, winning players, they need Bryce Harper's existence to show up to the ballpark to compete. That's loser stuff. That's what that is. That's loser energy if it all relies on one man and one man only to bring this team life. Then you're not filled with winners. I'm talking baseball-wise. Then you're not filled with a winning group. If you are going to fall flat and lose to teams like this, if you lost to the Dodgers without Bryce in a hard-fought effort, then okay. But this? Let's go to John in Cherry Hill. What's happening, John?
Brody.
Yes.
Okay. Listen. We have to start with Dombrowski.
Okay.
And we have to start with Middleton because this has gone too far. You have an owner who's making too much money. He doesn't care. And you have a general manager who knows that this is out of control, that all the buttons he pushed have failed. And it's going to snowball all the way down. And I'm pointing fingers at Topper because this team is playing uninspired baseball. There is nothing that indicates that these guys who have so much money in their pockets give one rat's you-know-what. And it's not like football that they play year by year and they need to perform. These guys, their attitudes are just like, well, we'll get them the next game, we'll get them the next game. And the only thing that's going to happen right now is it's going to implode. And I want to start with Topper, and I want to set the example that they all need to learn right now that it's done, that we're packing it in. And Middleton should have the same kind of stones to fire Dombrowski, because if he realized what's going on here, he would cut ties now.
I just don't think it makes sense to do it on June 8th, as much as I don't like Dave Dombrowski and I think that he's not really as good as his resume screams. I just don't know what the benefit is, because then what do? You just have an interim guy to make decisions at the deadline, and that's not really going to save any. That's an offseason move, but I think it should happen in the offseason. Yeah, right. but doing an interim move for a president of baseball ops during this push would not. Dave Dombrowski's, he's just going to do what he does, which is marginal pieces. That's not going to set your franchise back forever. You're not going to hurt your team by having him in the deadline, I don't think.
I'll tell you who I want to move. I want to move the shortstop.
Well, of course, we all do.
We need to get that contract off. The guy can't field. He won't go to the outfield. And this is day one where they bring the guys up from the minors, and you have 4 outs in this team. That 4 outs. Not one, not we got to bury Rojas somewhere. You have 4 players that basically do nothing, and JT is cooked, and it's a disaster, and Topper's gone tomorrow.
Yeah, hey, listen, John, I appreciate your call. I don't want Dave Dombrowski here to push buttons down the road by any means, but I just don't think you don't fire the president of baseball ops. If you're going to make a move to try and inspire the group, it's managerial, it's hitting coach, it's that. The president is an off-season move.
Kevin Long will be the first one.
Yeah, Kevin Long. And here's my thing on Topper, too. I think Topper should get criticized. I think Topper should be blamed. And I do think there are times where the team has this soft attitude, but I think it's because the players have soft attitudes. I don't think they play this way because Topper. I think that's who they are as players. Now, Topper has a hand in this. He does have a methodical way of leading, and he does have a personality that is a little bit more even keel than most. Although I do hear things differently behind the scenes, that he does play a different card publicly compared to what he says in the clubhouse. But the Topper thing, I'm more pissed off at Nick. I'm more pissed off at Trey. I'm more pissed off at Rojas. And then at times I'm like, well, how am I mad at Rojas? This is what he is. Then I'm mad at Dave. I can name you maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 people I'm more frustrated with than Topper, because I think the players themselves have a lot of blame that need to go on their shoulders, and Dave more than Rob. But I'm not saying Rob doesn't deserve it. Trust me, blame goes everywhere. Everyone is getting some blame. And Rob deserves a lot of blame, too, because he is the manager of this whole thing. But why we're here is more personnel. Dave deserves 1,000% more blame than Rob. The bigger issue, without a doubt, is Dave Dombrowski. Without a doubt. You say JT's cooked. We knew JT was cooked. Yet he looked at that right-handed bat as a possibility of something that could bring some life to the team. Now, a real baseball man would say he's getting up there in age. He has a lot of innings caught. He could definitely be used as a defensive-minded catcher, but we can't rely on that bat to be what it was 2 or 3 years ago. We have to now get a different right-handed bat to fill the void of Reese, and so we don't have to rely so much on JT bringing a spark at the right-handed side of the plate. You got to project that. He missed that projection. And he thought, oh, it's JT. He's one of the best catchers in baseball. Not anymore. Defensively, yeah, he's a really good defensive catcher that you can utilize, and he can still be a part of a team and be productive, but they put too much on his plate. The way Dave Dombrowski constructed this roster is significantly more of an issue than Rob Thompson. The roster stinks. The roster is bad. The roster is filled with players that don't know how to have a killer mentality, how to attack properly. And you say, well, is it the manager's job to teach them? When they're 8 playing Little League, this is pro sports with guys who've been playing baseball for years. We talk about how veteran-heavy this team is with 30-year-olds. These are guys who've been playing professional Major League Baseball for a decade. A decade. They got to learn how to attack with Rob Thompson? Then you got the wrong players if that's the players that you have. They need to rely on the manager to rally them. Like, what are we talking about here? You're a pro who is supposed to be going on a surge to win a championship, and you can only move right if Rob Thompson smacks you on the tush and says, go get him right? Then you're not the type of player we want anyway. Let's go to Rob in Delco. What's up, Rob?
Brodes?
Yes.
I love you. You know that, right?
I know you do.
Right?
I know you do.
Listen, you're going to be my therapist, but I'm going to give you a rant of all rants,
okay.
and then I'm going to end it on a good note, okay?
Okay.
This team is soft, bros. They are. I would rather watch a Flyers game right now. I'd rather have the boys in orange and black on, bros, than watch the Phillies. What does that tell you coming from me? I take a little shot at your boy. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Listen, don't tell me there's not a direct correlation between Bryce getting drilled. And, bros, let's not forget, he didn't just get drilled on his surgically repaired elbow. He got hit probably 2 or 3 times before that game.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, it was something like 3 and 4 games or 4 and 3 games, like something like that. So don't tell, bros, and I'm hearing some other people on the radio, I'm hearing some of my buddies, you can't do that. You got to win the game. Screw the game. Okay, screw the next batter up. Or who drilled him again? It was
Strider.
Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider.
Okay, so the next time Lindor comes, I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh,
so
Acuna or any of the Braves
or Austin Riley, they're getting drilled, bro. The next time up, and don't tell me if you put True Serum or put Bryce Harper in a lie detector test. He's not going to tell you he's pissed.
He's definitely pissed. Rob, this is my point on that. I do agree from a pitching perspective. No one retaliated because of Rob saying, whoever was in the game, Sanchez. But I'm saying from a dugout standpoint, if somebody gets hit, you really think the first thing on Kyle Schwarber's mind is, how does Rob want me to handle this? Really?
Bro.
If you have fire and if you have a personality as a baseball player, then you just instinctively do it. You don't think about Rob Thompson if you're Kyle Schwarber. If Kyle Schwarber wanted to react, Rob Thompson would say that's what makes Kyle Schwarber the leader that he is. He's willing to have that response. Like, he's capable of having that response. I think Rob would have probably loved if Nick or Kyle or somebody did something, because you need that type of fight out of your group. I bet you Rob's disappointed that nobody did anything.
Bro,
he's an old school guy.
My couple of negative points, and then on a high note. They're walk-up music, except for Bryce Harper and Schwarber. Bros, I grew up in Southwest Philly, okay, bros? you had the Mr. Softy truck coming down the street and play that ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. Like, that should be their walk-up music, because this thing is soft, like a Mr. Softy truck going down the street serving that soft-serve ice cream, okay? And some of your producers said, Brodes, I disagreed with him. I think he said 4 outs. There's 4, or was it a call? I'm sorry. He said there was like 4 outs in the lineup. No. There's more than 4 outs in the lineup. 3/4 of that lineup is an out. We got swept by the Pirates, who I believe were 16, 17 games below 500. They're still like 13 games below 500, and they're sweeping us. What does that tell you? This team has no heart. They're soft. Okay, don't call me a fair weather fan. I'm tired of this, Brodes. They're soft. That should be their theme music, the Mr. Softy truck, because that is what they are. But you know what, Brodes? After my rant, I'm a glutton for punishment, okay? We haven't won the Stanley. I was born in 1973, Brodes. My birthday's coming up on Saturday.
No,
okay,
happy early birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, that was the first cup, right? 73, 74?
Yeah, then 74, 75 back-to-back.
Okay, so, I was just born. I was a year old. And that's it. I'm still going to watch them, Brodes. I know I'm going off here.
No, that's okay.
Complaining a lot.
I'm watching, too. You kidding me?
But that one caller was like, I'm not going to.
Nah, we're watching.
After I get out of my system, I'm going to be right back to watching them, Brodes,
Yeah.
okay?
You're right.
But I'm counting down the days to the NBA draft, to the NHL draft, who I couldn't tell you one guy coming out in hockey, but I'm going to watch it anyway.
That's right.
Okay? And how many days till training camp? Because you know what? This team is soft. They got to blow it up. Boom's an out. Marsh is an out. Rojas is an out. Max Kepler looks great on GQ, but he can't play. Blowing away in right field, can't play. It's just, we got outs all up and down this lap, and I don't want to hear Bryce is out. Brodes, we should be able to beat the Pirates without Schwarber and Bryce Harper.
You're so right.
Rob Turner probably makes more than the whole squad, Brodes.
Yeah, Rob, you're so right, and thank you so much for the call. No, you're right. You should be able to beat them without Nick, Kyle, and Bryce. No doubt about it. You should absolutely be able to beat them. Now, I want to go back to the whole correlation between Rob and not reacting. I'm just saying, if you had a group of guys, okay, I'm just using this to show you in an extreme manner, okay? Papelbon's a nutcase. We all agree Jonathan Papelbon is a nutcase. If something was to happen on that field and Papelbon thought it was unacceptable, that man would not think for 1 second about Rob Thompson's feelings, about Rob Thompson's demeanor, about Rob Thompson anything. He would jump the dugout and he would attack whoever he felt obligated to attack. If you are a player that would be willing to step up for Bryce, when that happens, it is so instinctual. It is so, you just drilled Bryce Harper intensity-wise. It's like, what? You don't think about Rob. You're a pro athlete for a lot of these guys who have been in the league for almost a decade. There's no way you go, I'm going to get in trouble by Rob. I'm not going to go. And if so, then you got the wrong guys. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I just don't think that's why they're losing games right now. Like, I don't think it's that they
have given the personality.
No, but I don't think it's that they've given up on each other or anything. I think it's just the fact that the personnel is not good enough to win games right now, and they should have gotten a better outfield option than Max Kepler in the offseason, and probably should have found a way to bolster the lineup more. Like, I think that's where the issue is. I don't think it's because they didn't attack Spencer Strider after Harper got hit.
It says something. It says something about this team. All right, we made fun of Nick Sirianni a lot, but there is something about the family, the brotherhood, the togetherness, the you'll do anything for the person next to you. And I get it. In football, it's a very physical sport and whatever. But there is an element of camaraderie and teammates, and I don't feel it with this team. They look very, and you can hear it even when I'm watching the TV broadcast, and they say, they're doing a lot of things like individually, a hit here, a hit there, and not stringing together anything. They don't look like a team that's playing with like a 1 through 9 unit. And well, can we relate that back to them not having each other's back in one of the most hostile moments of the season?
I think when they were winning games, the personality was fine. I think now it's obviously they're struggling and they're looking for answers, and clearly they're frustrated. And could they go about it better? Sure. Would I have liked them to at least yell at Spencer Strider after they hit Bryce? Like, yeah, but I don't think that's why any of this is happening.
All right.
Just personally.
Yeah, no, listen, you're entitled to your opinion, and you're not the only one who feels that way. There have been people who called into me and said they should have focused on the win, and they took 2 out of 3 against Atlanta, and that's the goal, and you just want to keep winning, and you don't retaliate because winning's more important than getting Zach Wheeler thrown out of a game because they wanted Wheeler to throw on that third and final game of the series. And I've heard that side of it for sure, but I don't know. I keep going back to I'm an eye testman. I'm an eye testman. The eye test with this team screams there's something fractured right now.
My whole thing, I'm just kind of looking back on right now and what could have gone different with the season so far is like you couldn't have pictured the Alvarado thing happening, so I don't think the bullpen is necessarily a spot where you would have said, okay, like they didn't do enough in the offseason. I think losing Hoffman was tough, but I thought Romano was going to be better than he was right now, so I can't blame them much for that. I just think you had a glaring hole in left field, and you decided... Yes, but left field was one where it was wide open. You could have addressed it in any possible way, trade, free agency, whatever, and you brought a stopgap guy that's just not very good.
And a possibility, and I'm not sure what he's doing now, but I think he actually got injured. But Bregman at one point was ripping the cover off.
He's hurt right now, but he was like top 5 MVP conversation with Boston for a little bit.
Yeah, he was hitting 314, then dipped to 303 for a little bit, and then he ended up getting injured. But
hey, I was on Bregman.
Yeah, but that's another move that you could have made, and a 300 hitter compared to I'd have to see the experience because I've seen 295 not tickle my fancy. Trey Turner.
If he's a good hitter, why don't he hit good? Moneyball.
Yeah, there you go. Say that to Trey Turner. Let's go to Dominic in Denver. What's up, Dominic?
I want to make a point of Harper getting hit.
Okay.
This team doesn't have McSorley on the team. You know what I mean by that?
Yep.
Okay? They're not looking after Gretzky. They're not looking after the best player on the team.
No, they're not.
So they don't have that type of player to do something.
But you know what? It shouldn't have to take that. I get your comparison and all, but you're telling me no one's just going to... It's baseball, right? You don't have to actually go out there and throw punches the way that you would with Gretzky.
No, you do. At this point, you do. You need a brawl.
Well, but see, that's where I think we're going to the extreme, where I'm not saying you need a brawl. I just need someone to start screaming at Strider as if to tell them that's unacceptable to hit our top guy.
Well, that would ignite the team. Stuff like that ignites the team.
Yeah.
It brings the team closer.
Yes.
And they just don't have a player on this team that will do something like that. And one other point. What pitcher in the National League is scared of this lineup? Can you tell me who to be scared of on this lineup?
Kyle, I guess. Kyle. When Kyle gets hot, he just goes through his flows, though. But yeah, Kyle.
That's it.
Like even Trey. You're afraid of Trey to hit a single? Whoop-de-doo. Take your single.
Know.
Yeah, take your single.
This team just isn't. It's not built to win a World Series anymore. It's changed. It has changed.
Yeah, and they tried to do it through starting pitching, and obviously Nola's banged up, and Luzardo.
It was supposed to be to out-hit the opponent.
Yeah, that's how it started, and then they shifted.
It didn't work, and it shifted, and it's not the same team anymore.
You're right. I can't argue.
They're just a bunch of players now. So
that's disappointing.
What you're getting.
Yeah,
I love you, bro.
Thanks, Dominic. I appreciate it. Let's go to Diane, who's driving from Pittsburgh. What's up, Diane?
Hi, how are you?
I've had better days, but I'm doing well in life. In sports world, though, I'm devastated.
I know. I was there.
Oh.
70% of the stadium was Phillies fans. My whole hotel was Phillies fans. The boat going over to the stadium was Phillies fans. The kids were devastated. The little kids, they were all with their gloves, waiting for a home run, all devastated. It was a disgrace.
Now, did you go for the weekend? Did you go just for Sunday's game? What was your vibe like?
I was there the whole weekend, but I only went to Saturday's game.
Okay.
And I'm not a big Trey fan, and seeing it in person, I'm even a worse Trey fan.
I'm not a big Trey fan either, so I will gladly accept the Trey
guy hitting in that line.
Well, listen, you're right, but his presence bothers me. I think he's a description, Diane, of why this team plays with no juice. He just doesn't bring it the way I need him to. You know what I'm saying?
They were even walking up to the plate. They didn't even look like they had any juice walking up to the plate.
You see that? Now, Diane, if they heard that, they should be ashamed of themselves. I was listening to WIP, and Diane said I didn't have juice walking up to the plate. I mean, where's the urgency? I mean, what's it going to take? Well, we got to smack them in the face and say, yo, fellas, let's go. Let's do it.
You were playing a home game. You were playing a home game.
It's an excellent point. You got the people on your side. You got Otto Kemp in the lineup trying to bring life to you. Nothing.
And all the people around us, they're taking road trips all summer to see them. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Diane, thank you so much for chiming in. I appreciate that. I agree with Diane. My biggest takeaway is I'm less of a fan of Trey Turner.
That might be not in my top 50 for the weekend.
I just like Turner a lot. There were probably some other things that aggravated me. But I think game one, he was game one the game where he actually had a couple of hits, RBI and whatnot. Yeah. But still, he could have turned two.
He's going to be their lone all-star representative.
Please.
Wheeler.
Oh, please. Stinks. I mean this. I do mean this. Obviously, I take it to the extreme for joking purposes, but not really joking. I mean what I say. I can't stand Trey. I do think there is something about his presence that relates to this team not having snarl. He's paid, and he's, without Bryce, he is face of franchise level. That's what Trey Turner, face of the franchise, $300 million. Without Bryce, he's the next in line. So it's a 1-2 punch of Bryce and Trey, and they got this long-term contract thing going on, and they are the faces of this team. And this team doesn't have snarl. Trey doesn't play with snarl.
I just don't think that's the problem with the lineup right now. But the problem is they have no depth in the lineup, and the guys who they relied on to be that depth are just not providing.
You don't think this the personality of this team, forget the depth, and there's something missing with the personality of this team, don't you think?
No.
You don't think there's something wrong with the personality of this group?
No, I think Schwarber is the leader, and I think he has a fine personality and has a fine temperament on the team, and I don't think that's the problem. I just think that they can't hit.
Yeah,
they have no bullpen depth.
I think they are so blah as a group. You got to have some sort of pop to who you are as a team.
Well, then they get that from the manager, then.
I agree. Rob, Bryce, even Trey, the big guys. Like, we talk about the 7, 8, 9 hitters, and trust me, I will bash them too because they're bad too, and I blame Dave and all that. But a part of the pie is their personality, and I think their personality stinks.
They've also got like 4 zeros in the lineup.
Now,
guys who just, like, I expect 0 right now from Bryson Stott, from Bohm, from Kepler, from Marsh, from Rojas, and yeah, I'll give it with those 5 guys for now.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I couldn't agree more. That's part of it, too. That's what I say. It's a puzzle pie. It's a piece of pie. We're looking at the whole pie. I think you can distribute it to a million different places, but the personality of this group is just so blah. They're just so, well, let's go play baseball. Well, we struck out 5 times today. My name's Trey Turner. Let's go to Bernadette Maple Shade. What's up, Bernadette?
Oh, Brodes, man, I'm telling you, when does football season start?
I know.
I'm so tired of this stupid, stinking, smelling baseball team.
I know.
They are not going to make it to the playoffs.
It's a fair statement at this point. I can't rule it out. There's a lot of competition for these wild cards. But it's funny, you would think they expand the playoff format, that it would actually be like, oh, there's no way in hell they missed the playoffs. Yet they expand it, and now I don't even know if they're going to get in.
No, not the way they're playing. I mean, they are a total hot mess. They're a disgrace.
They really are. I cannot believe it. Bernadette, I'm going to say it just like everybody else said it, but they just got swept by the Pirates. The only thing worse is getting swept by Colorado, which I do think is nearly impossible, but this is pretty damn close.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking for the Cubs coming up here? I mean, we got Wheeler on the mound. What's going to happen?
I think it's just going to be a laughing stock.
Oh, no.
I just don't think they can do it. It's kind of ironic. It's funny speech actually from Jason Kelsey when they won the Super Bowl 52.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole team. They stink like a bunch of bad mackerel fish.
Yeah. Bernadette, thank you so much for the call. Oh, just the delivery on them. They stink. They do. They stink. Stink. This team stinks. I might just repeat that sentence for the next 3 hours.
They all stink, and we just got to live with it.
I love that. Is that new or no?
It's one of my favorites.
I feel like I never heard that.
No, it's one of LA's best.
Okay, yeah, I feel like, well, probably because they were winning so much, no one played it. But the truth is, woof.